So welcome to this information session about Racing the Planet Greece that will take place in September. My name is Sam Fanshawe. I'm the event director for the race. For those who don't know me, I've been with the company since 2008, and so many of you will have met me at other races, and others will have received emails from me, and I will be physically on the ground in Greece for this race. We have a lot of people returning to a Racing the Planet ultramarathon, and we also have quite a few new people and people who are already signed up and people who are still considering signing up. So this information session will be general, covering all areas of the race, from the beginning, from the dates to the logistics to the race format to how the camps work. And then Carlos Garcia, who is the course director, will go into quite a lot of detail about the course itself. I'll also talk a bit about the weather and the equipment, and at the end there will be a chance for you to ask your questions. So saying, if you have questions during this call, ask you to ask them in the chat, and if there's something that you really want to know urgently at that time, you can unmute yourself and ask. So before we get started on the details of the call, I want to introduce you to Thanasis, who is our local manager, our local partner in Greece. And I think he's as excited about the race coming to Greece as we are to come to Greece. So I'm going to hand over to him for a moment just to welcome you to Greece.
So thank you very much, Sam. Thank you, Mary, for this opportunity. Hello, guys. Hello to everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. So yes, indeed, I would like to say hello to each and every one of you. You will be seeing me there these 6-7 days. My team and I were very, very excited. And I guess when we had the first approach from Sam to see if we can support this race, we were so excited, and actually we got all the power and the energy, thing of you and what you are about to experience and live and try in these very nice places and the route that is already designed. I believe that it will be an amazing experience from start to finish and everything in between. And everyone is here for you to gain this lifetime experience. That's what I would like to say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Thanasis. And Thanasis will remain on the call until the end. So if there's any questions specifically about Greece, you can also ask him later on.
Sure.
So starting at the very beginning, hopefully most of you know this, but just a quick introduction to Racing the Planet itself. So we organize 250-kilometer or 155-mile, 6-stage, 7-day self-supported ultramarathon. Racing the Planet Greece will be the 78th ultramarathon that's been organized by Racing the Planet, and it's the 17th edition of what we call the roving race, which is a one-off race that takes place in a new location. Racing the Planet Greece will be a similar format to all other Racing the Planet and Four Deserts ultramarathons. The big difference is that it's not a desert, and we do have a boat transfer in the middle of this race, which we'll talk about a little bit more as we go through the details of the course. It's supported by an international team, a management team, myself, Mary, Carlos, and some others, a medical team, course team, volunteers, media team, and also a great local team who will support in all of these areas, led by Thanasis and his colleague, Zach and Lois. Racing the Planet Greece is a qualifying race for the last desert in Antarctica for those who are interested. In order to qualify, you have to complete 2 other races in different locations. So any 2 of the 4 deserts or any of the roving races will qualify you for that. And the next edition of the last desert is November 2026. For Racing the Planet Greece, the meeting place is actually near Makri, which is in the municipality of Marathon. You need to arrive by Friday, the 26th of September. You can arrive anytime. There's no race activities scheduled for that day, except that we'll have a hotel room reserved for you at the race hotel, and the race hotel is Marathon Beach Resort. Check-in there is from 2 p.m. and that's based on 2 people sharing a room, 2 competitors sharing a room, unless you've booked the single room supplement, in which case you have your own room. And then our first official meeting is on Saturday, the 27th of September, currently planned for 9 o'clock at the race hotel. And you can see a couple of photos of the hotel at the bottom there. How do you get there? The closest airport is Athens, which is an international airport. And near Makri is about 40 minutes from Athens by taxi or by car. It's about 25 euros each way. And there are public transport options available, and they are cheaper, but they do take more time and logistics. So my recommendation is to take a taxi, and maybe you can share that with some other competitors, either who you know or when we set up the WhatsApp group for you all to communicate. To give you the geography of it, so Athens is over here. Athens Airport is southeast of Athens. And near Makri is north of the airport and northeast of Athens. So it's about 40 minutes here. It would have been about 40 minutes into Athens. You can see a few pictures of the area here. So this beach is quite close and accessible to the hotel that we're staying in. Here you can see the peninsula around Marathon and near Makri. So you can see how beautiful it is. And this is the Marathon battle site itself, which is how Marathon got its name. The 42-kilometer distance race of Marathon was because of the battle that happened in Marathon. A little bit about near Makri. So it's in the municipality of Marathon. It's 8 kilometers south of Marathon, and these times are based on going by car. It's about 20 kilometers from Athens Airport, and it's about 40 kilometers from the center of Athens. It takes more like 1 hour to get there. So you could do Athens in a day trip if you wanted to see some of the main sites there, or you could go and spend a night there before or afterwards if you have extra time. So the population of near Makri is about 36,000 versus more than 600,000, close to 650,000 in Athens. So we chose in the end this area because it's smaller, it's by the beach, it has the name of Marathon, and just overall the town and the feel of this area is much more suited to the start and the meeting place for Racing the Planet than the big city of Athens. There's lots of nice restaurants and cafes. There are supermarkets, ATMs, and banks, and most places there will take credit cards. There aren't a lot of specific outdoor shops there, so please do bring all of your gear with you in advance, and we'll talk about the food in a bit, but most of your food with you as well. A few traveling tips. We're quite far in advance, but it's good to know these. So to enter Greece, everybody needs a passport that's valid for 6 months after your departure. Those people who are resident in the EU, you may be able to travel there using your ID card. You will know these rules better than me. My suggestion would be just to be sure, bring your passport as well. But it may be possible to enter just using an ID card. Most countries, or there are many countries that can get into Greece without a visa in advance or without needing a visa at all. There are some countries that do, and that includes China. So I'm listing these specific countries because we have competitors from these countries who are expecting to join the race. So China, India, Namibia, South Africa, Uzbekistan, Thailand, and Vietnam do need a visa, and so do some other countries. In the essential race information, I put a link there to the Ministry of Affairs for Greece, and they have a very simple table of all of the countries and if you need a visa or if it's visa free. So if you're unsure, just check that link. But EU countries, the UK, the US, Canada, and many other countries do not need a visa to enter Greece. A point I always make early on, carry as much of your race gear as hand luggage when you're traveling to the race. Wherever you travel in the world, it's quite common for at least one, if not a lot of bags to be lost, and we experience it at every single race. So the more of your race gear that you can take with you on the plane as hand carry, the better. So that's wear your shoes, your backpack, your sleeping bag, as much of the other gear as possible. Obviously not your knife or your multi-tool, because that will not be allowed as hand luggage. A quick note at the moment, and we may come on to this more in the questions at the end, is officially coming into Greece from outside the EU. You're not allowed to bring meat or dairy products. However, in general, if you're bringing small amounts for your personal use and it's in its original packaging, it's unlikely to be checked or to be an issue. For those of you who've done the Atacama Crossing, for example, so Chile has very strict rules and people are often checked, but as long as their food has been in the original packaging and only the small amount needed for the race, then it's been fine. And Greece is generally the same. If you're extra concerned about this, we can talk about it at the end of the call, or you can message me separately, because there are ways that you can have your freeze-dried meals, for example, sent to Greece. And there is some food that you can get there, although I would be worried about having race-specific food. And then a general rule for every race, so keeping all food and powders in its original packaging, especially white powder, is going to make getting through customs easy in general. So the overall itinerary for the race, so this is taken directly from the website, so you've seen it there, but you need to arrive in the host town of near Macri by the 26th of September, and you'll be ready to leave on the 5th of October. The race itself starts on the 28th of September and finishes on the 4th of October, and we provide the hotel night either side there for the pre and post race activities. Going into these in detail, as we spoke about Friday, on Saturday the 27th, we have our first meeting at the race hotel, the Marathon Beach Resort. We then have the race check-in, which is where we check every single piece of your mandatory gear. We check your forms, we do a few more formalities, we give you your race bib and make everything then official. We'll then board buses. This schedule will be finalised later, but we're planning around 1 p.m. to leave from Marathon, and it's about a 3.5-hour drive. I've allowed a bit longer, so we hope to arrive at Camp 1 at 5 p.m. There's nothing to do there that evening other than find your tent, relax, have your dinner, and enjoy your first night out on the course in Greece. On that day, breakfast is provided at the hotel. Checkout time is 11 a.m. You'll have time in between the race check-in, because once you're done or before you do yours, you'll have that time. And then everyone can leave one bag at the race hotel that we'll store for you during the week of the race. And then Sunday, 28th September is when the race starts. Simply, hot water is available from 5:30 in the morning, and the race is planned to start at 8 a.m. General race format. This is going to be the race format in Greece. It's very similar to every other race that we hold. So I normally actually do a wake-up call or a time reminder at 7 a.m. on the speaker. Then we have a pre-stage briefing at 7:30 a.m. and then the race starts at 8. Everyone starts together unless we tell you otherwise in advance, where on occasion there may be a staggered start. Once you start, you literally just follow the pink flags or tape, and they're always in line of sight, and you must be sure to follow them. There's a checkpoint about every 10 kilometers or 6 miles along the course. So each stage has normally 4 checkpoints, with the last one being at camp. Occasionally we'll have 5. And at that checkpoint, there's water. We'll top you up with your water bottles. We'll have a doctor, volunteer, and shade. You must leave every checkpoint with 1.5 liters of water, which we'll take from large containers and put into your water bottles. When you arrive at the final checkpoint, which is at camp, that's when your time stops. And then you have the rest of the afternoon or evening and that night to rest, relax, eat, sleep, use the cyber tent, whatever else, talk to the doctors, visit the medical tent, whatever else you need to do. And then we repeat that the next day and the next day and the next day from there. It's slightly different when we get to stage 5, the long march, which is the same format, but we have 8 checkpoints planned because we're looking at about 82 kilometers, about 50 miles. And there is one checkpoint on that day only, which is just over halfway, where you can get hot water and rest. So we'll put some tents up there if you want to have a few hours of actual sleep. And we add 3 hours to the cutoff times, which are based on the standard ones we'll talk about later. But then we add 3 hours, so those towards the back still have time to rest at that checkpoint if they want to. Talking about the teams briefly, so there's a few categories that you can enter in the race. The majority of people come as individuals. Most people come either alone or with a few friends, but many come alone and they race as an individual, whether they're with friends or not. You can also enter as an official team. An official team has to have at least 2 people, and you must stay together the entire race. And the winning official team is the team that has the lowest overall time, and you will both have, or both or all, you can have 3, 4, 5 people in your team, because you'll be racing together the whole time. The group team is where you must have at least 3 people. You don't have to race together, but the average time of each of the group team members is taken, and the winning group team has the lowest, is the overall lowest average time at the end of the race. That's quite fun for you to do, to add a bit of competitiveness, but still to race on your own. And then you could be an unofficial team, which doesn't make any changes to the race, but sometimes it's quite a good way to list, say, your charity or your running group on the website. Okay, that just gives you the sort of flavor and the introduction getting into it. This is the real deal, is talking about the details of the course. So Carlos Garcia is the course director for this race. He is himself a 4 Deserts Club member, so he's completed all of the 4 Deserts races. And he has been the course director, I believe, for close to 25 of Racing the Planet races, and he's designed at least 10, if not more of them. So he has a lot of experience, and he has done the recce's and designed the course for Greece. And before I hand over to him, I will say he was a little disappointed when we chose Greece as our roving race location, just because it was a bit European and normal compared to some of the race locations we choose. But when he went there, he absolutely loved it, and he discovered lots of things that he was very surprised to find, and is very excited about the course, and can't wait to go back for the race.
Yeah, what you were saying is true. It's funny because when you sent me to Greece, I was not like 100% convinced, because it's like probably I was thinking that it was going to be like very similar to Spain at the end. So, and but actually the truth is that what I found is a completely different culture, and it was really amazing. All the landscape, the people that I met there, the I don't know, the places that I discovered, and it was actually a lot of fun. Funny thing is that every time I do a race for Racing the Planet, Mary asked me to like rate the race, and normally I'm very hard on myself, and I don't rate it very high, but actually I surprisingly I rate Greece quite a lot. Like I give it an 8 or a 9, something like that. So, which is surprising. So yeah, very good. I'm very excited to have everybody running in Greece and know a little bit of this land. It's fantastic. Okay, let's go to the matter. Okay, so what we are going to do is to run on the Peloponnese. It's like a hand. Everybody will see it. Like if you see the map of Greece, it's on the southwest. Okay, and we are going to cross. I don't know if I can point. I don't think I can point anyway. Anyway, we are going to cross from the west and going to the east. Okay, let's say towards Athens, more or less, for you to understand. Okay, that means that when we finish all of the first 4 stages, then we will have a boat crossing, which is very Greek, and, and we will continue our stage 5 on the other finger of the Peloponnese. And stage 6 is the last one. That is surprise. We'll let you know when a little bit later, but anyway, it will be a short one. Okay, let's go up to the next slide. These are the kilometers and the miles of the total distance of the race. Okay. I believe that what is more impress everyone is the elevation gain of stage 1. But you have to understand that okay, in the Peloponnese, in the finger that we are using for our 4 first stages, there are, as you can see very well on the profile, there are 2 big mountain ranges, okay? The one on the left that we are going to be there on stage 1 and 2 is the Taygetos. Taygetos is the highest peak in the Peloponnese, in the south part of the Peloponnese, and is a very impressive mountain. We are not going to be on the peak. We are not going to go through the peak because it's much higher than what we want to. But the range, we have to cross it, and that means that we will have an elevation gain of a little bit over 2,000 meters. The good thing is that it's not like, okay, you have to understand that the profiles that we show and all of the races in the
Okay, until we can get Carlos back, I think what he was trying to say to start with there is that when you look at a race profile of 250 kilometers, it looks in some cases more scary than when you see it. If you put out 40 kilometers along the bottom, suddenly it doesn't look so scary. But the reality is you can see what the actual elevation gain is. So it is quite a lot, but it's not quite as scary as it looks on an elevation chart when you compare all of the entire course rather than when you just look at stage 1.
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so that is very important for you to understand. So the chart, actually, we make it like that to make it clear for everyone that there is an uphill. But obviously, the uphill is not like what we are showing on the chart, because that would be like more like climbing than running uphill. And the good thing about the stage 1 is that besides that, the landscape is amazing because you are going to be in the last part overall, the last, I would say the last section, the last leg, about 10 kilometers to the Taygetos. So you will have on site. And that is the first picture that you have on the top left. And it's very, very nice. It's impressive to see that big mountain. Okay, the good thing is that the terrain is not going to be like a climb, like a steady climb, always climbing and 38 kilometers climbing, but it will have like areas that you will even have downhill, and also I have to say that the terrain is not extremely technical at all. Actually, there are like very, very small sections that there are a little bit more rocky. And anyway, we will specify all these sections in a document that we will give you when you get there, that are called the course notes. And in that document, you will see the indication, like notes from me that specifying the places that you can find difficult terrain. So the rest of the terrain is like single tracks, easy to run, and sometimes uphill, obviously, but it's a matter of training. You can do it. and dust roads, and it's not technically difficult. So landscape is going to be so amazing that you will forget about the uphill, I hope. So stage 2, what I was telling you about the two mountain ranges is that we are going to go to cross between stage 1 and 2. We are going to cross Taygetos mountain, and then we will go down the valley into the center of the finger of the Peloponnese. And in that finger, in that valley is where Sparta is. Okay, so we will be crossing that valley a little bit to the north of Sparta, and that is, I think, is going to be one of the nicest parts of this trip. Our campsite number 2 is in a place called Selassia, that some people say that it was the original, the old Sparta was right there. So it's the good thing about this race is that we will have a lot of history, like constantly surrounding us. And this is going to be very, very nice. I will try to have as much history for you in the course notes, but it's a little bit. Okay, to arrive to Selassia, we have to start climbing a little bit the Parnon range, which is the second range that I was telling you about, that they are going from north to south, and the Parnon is the one more to the east. And as you can see, the terrain is very simple, very nice, and it's normal single tracks, as you can find in any place that you can practice in near your house. So it's not technically Taygetos mountain is a little bit more. Parnon range is much easier. So the terrain is going to be too. Well, anyways, it's a very nice landscape. And also, you will start passing by some small Greek villages. And that is another piece of history that I think is worth it. And it's really super nice. Okay, all the people in the villages will greet you like only in Greek you can find that. Okay, let's go to stage 3. So stage 3 is 42 kilometers, as you can see. We are starting to climb in the Parnon range, okay? And the path that we are going to be using is the E6. E6 is, so in Europe, a lot of paths that they cross like from north to the south of Europe, and E6 is one very known track that goes from the south of Finland, I guess. Anyway, the part that is interesting for us is the section that we are going to be using in the Peloponnese, and some areas is a dust road, some areas is a single track, and is very nice. Oh, there you have a picture. Well, that section, the section in the Peloponnese in the south, is the one that we are going to be using, and the landscape is starting to change. Is much more different than the landscape in Taygetos, and in this area you will start seeing olive trees. There are a huge amount of olive trees. You have to think that one of the biggest towns in this finger of the Peloponnese is Kalamata. Kalamata is known for the olives. So you will cross running a lot of like fields with olive trees, and hopefully we will have. I don't think it will be as green as in the pictures, but the landscape is going to be amazing anyway. And from the range, from the Parnon range, if you look at the west, you will always have the Taiguetos range present, and you can see it, and you will understand that you cross the whole range. So that is something very nice. I like the elevation gain is over because there is much lower. Okay. Okay, stage 4, we keep on going on the E6 until one small village that we are going to be using the train tracks. Now in the Peloponnese, there are no trains anymore, but when they built it, they were like narrow train tracks, and they built bridges and quite a network of trains actually. But I don't know why they don't use them anymore. And we are going to use a small section of the train tracks to cross. Somebody asked about that section, and okay, so for you to know, for me, safety is the most important thing, and I am very, very afraid of heights. So along the train tracks, there are a couple of bridges that the train was normally crossing. I tried to go over the bridge, but I couldn't do it. So I thought that maybe some of you might be afraid of heights, same as me. But we will have single tracks that they will go down the hill, they will go up the hill on the other side of the valley, and then we will keep on the train tracks. But the train tracks, I measured it before the call, and we will have a small section of 500 meters only. Then we will have a single track. We will take the train tracks again for 1.5 kilometers. Then we have the second bridge, and then we will have 2.5 kilometers up to the normal dash road again. Okay, so that's quite easy. Before the train tracks, we will pass by a small village that is called Caries. That is the picture that you have on the right, in the bottom right.
Can you explain a little bit more about the history of the caryatids in Caries?
Well, yes, it's Caryatides, and it comes from the place Caries. I will try to remember from school because I haven't read it recently. These were nymphs, actually, kind of small goddesses from the forests, and they were made out of some exceptional marble. And in this way, because they were so beautiful, they were also made same for the Parthenon.
In summary, you'll be going past these. You can see them in the picture here.
Yes, exactly.
We will actually have a checkpoint. We will actually have a checkpoint there.
And these are the same ones that the ones that were made in the Parthenon, the Acropolis, were made here originally. So there's more history going on as well.
A couple of them are in the British Museum in London.
The area that we are running is they have a lot of quarries. Is that how they call it?
Quarries.
The places where they take the marble from. So that is stage 4, and stage 4. The campsite is going to be in a very, very beautiful village that is called Kiberi, that is next to the sea. And it's a very beautiful place, and it's very, very Greek. And we will have the campsite next to the sea. Okay. Then after stage 4, on the next morning, the first thing that we have to do is to take a boat, to hop in a boat for to cross to the next finger, okay, of the Peloponnese, and in that finger we are going to be running the long stage, the long march, and long march is starting with a mountain, not the other way. We
Yeah,
have
just
to go
showing the
to the
map
other
there where you
way.
can see where that boat transfer is.
Stage 5 is going to start with a little bit of a climb in the it is the second stage, which has highest elevation, but elevation gain, I mean, but in this case is 82 kilometers, so I don't think is like a huge percentage of elevation at the end. We actually have to climb to the monastery that you have on the picture in this slide, but that will be the most difficult climb in the stage. The rest of the stage is going to be quite easy. Actually, you can see in the profile that is like that. Okay, and that monastery is absolutely amazing. Is we will have like a Greek church is very present all over Greece, and we will pass by many in all of the stages. Actually, we will pass by many small temples and churches and all kinds of religious constructions. So is but that monastery is super nice, and the good thing is that it's in the top of the mountain, and you will have the whole valley with the sea in the back, and so the view is fantastic. Okay. Then after the monastery, we will have to cross a field that is on the top left picture, and then we will cross a small range to arrive to Didima. Didima is a village that is in the south of the finger of the Peloponnese that we are running, the second, and is known because it has two caves. One is the ceiling. It has fallen some many years ago, and now we have the walls. And then we will also run in the small cave, in Didima small cave, and we will get into the cave, and you will visit the cave. After that, we will start running on dash roads mainly, and some small single tracks as well. But it will be like fairly flat and easy to run. And we are running in an area of the south finger of the Peloponnese that is quite populated. Okay, so that means that we will have to cross several villages, small villages. So please be aware of the signals and markings, but the landscape is super nice, and the campsite will probably next to the sea as well. That would be nice, because this way we can that campsite, we are going to be 2 nights on that one, and that is a nice option, so you can swim and enjoy the sea in Greece, which is fantastic. Okay, the course challenges, as Sam is writing there, obviously is the elevation, which I explained that is concentrated mainly on stage 1, although stage 5 has quite an elevation, but like on 80 kilometers is not that much. So I think the most difficult one is a stage 1. So take it easy and like rule your speed, okay? But technically speaking, for you to be relaxed, it's not difficult, okay? Just one section that we have to, but I'm talking about maybe, I don't know, 50 meters, not even, of a rocky area, rocky river. But the rest is any single track that you can use for training in your house or near your house is similar to this, so it's not particularly. The other issue or the other challenge can be temperature, okay, which is in September we hope we expect to be quite warm. So that is the reason that Sam was telling that you have to get off the checkpoints with 1.5 liters of water, and that is important that you respect it. Okay, and the cutoff times as well, because they are, I think, in my opinion, they are pretty generous, but just keep an eye on them. Okay.
I'm going to
Some
skip through this slide actually, Carlos, because that's quite straightforward. So move on to the markings and then the questions.
Okay. The race is completely marked, and depending on the kind of terrain, I mean, if there is a lot of sight in front of you, maybe we can put one flag every 100 meters or something. It depends on how much terrain you can see. But if the landscape is very narrow or is a lot of vegetation or whatever, we can even put every 10 meters or even less than 25. Much less than 25 is if needed. Okay, enough markings so everybody will find their way. Okay.
Questions submitted by people specifically. So I think you've answered some of them, but if you can just answer some of the others directly for them, Carlos.
Okay. What type of surface will course be? It will, okay. It's a hard terrain. I mean, it's hard in the meaning of it's not sandy like Namibia can be. There is no sandy sections. Okay, we are not running on the beach or something like that for now. And that means that you will I mean, the surface is that you can run in any surface that we are going to be that the track is going. So,
But Carlos, there are some small rocky sections which are slightly more technical, but very, very short, right? Like
very, very
less than
short.
500
Yes.
meters.
Yeah, very, very short. There is one in stage 1 and another one on stage 2, but they are very short. And as I said before, you know, I'm like very keen on safety, and I didn't have any problem with that. So it's not difficult at all. You just have to be careful on that rocky section, but I'm talking about 50 meters or something. So it's not, okay.
So I think you've covered the bit about the runnable sections and also the rocky, more difficult sections. So stage 1 and stage 2 for slightly more technical, but only because of the rocks. Are there any water crossings, Carlos?
Unfortunately, no. I mean,
Carlos tried hard to find some.
everybody knows that I love water crossings, but I cannot find any proper water crossing here. The only water crossing that we will have is at the beginning of stage 5, and we will have a very tiny river that we will have to cross. But if you are like a little bit in shape, I think with a small jump you can cross it. So I don't think they will have their feet wet. Okay.
I'm just going to make a point on that now. So there's no planned river or water crossings on the course other than the small one Carlos spoke about, but it will depend on what the weather is like beforehand, because there are areas where there is water that can come through.
Yeah, well, I
so-
mean, we are talking about trail running. So if we got rain on the previous days or we got rain on during the race, you know, that makes
Yeah.
things different. But initially there are no water crossings. Yes.
Okay, and I think we covered the bit on train tracks. If you have more questions on that, you can ask later. I'm
Yeah.
going to answer the bit about the campsite. So most of the campsites are either on hard ground, not so much rocky, but some of them are almost like asphalt type, but not quite, and some of them are on grass. There's no sand, so be prepared for hard campsite surfaces.
We have two of our campsites are going to be in a dust football field. So that means that it's as you say, it will be hard terrain, but it's not asphalt, but it's going to be the terrain that is hard. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I'm going to answer this about the boat transfer, and I'll give you more details later. But it's less than 1 hour boat transfer. Generally, it's not. It's plain sailing. It's very calm sailing. If it's not calm sailing, we won't take you on the boat. Everyone will go together. After you'll stay the night at Camp 5, and then that next morning you'll take the boat across to start stage 5 altogether on the other side.
Sam, we have to say that, that if the fingers of the Peloponnese are like that, okay, if we are crossing from this finger to this finger, but we are crossing way inside the hand, so that means that even if it's windy or we are not like in an area that is open sea, so even though like it can be windy or something, but it shouldn't be a lot of waves or the sea shouldn't be too rough. Okay,
Yeah.
but anyway, we will know closer to the river sea crossing day. Okay.
Okay, and then the last question, I think by the descriptions Carlos has given, that's sort of relatively clear for those who've done the other races, how it differs. So if the person that asked that question or any of you want to know more on that, you can ask towards the end of this call. Given that, as I always do, we're going a little over time, I'm going to move on from the course for now, and we'll come back to it at the end if people have questions. So I think Carlos has given a pretty good overview, and the bits where we couldn't hear him properly, we can come back to those later if we need to. So now we're going to move on a little bit to camp and how the camps work. So camps are in tents. I'm just giving you an idea. Here is how a camp will be roughly set up. This is not in Greece. This is at a different race. I can't remember which one it was, but that's the same format is how they set up at most of our races. In the bottom right, you can see an example of one of the areas of the campsite, more showing the terrain than how it's actually going to look. So you can see that it's by the sea, but when we say hard packed terrain, that's what we mean. They're not all like that, but giving you sort of an example is it's not rocky, but it's hard. There's two options at the campsite. So we provide the shared tents that you can see here, or you can bring a single tent of your own that we will carry for you. There is hot water provided at all of the campsites from about 5:30 in the morning, and then in the afternoon from 1 or 2 until evening time. In Greece, I'm sure you're all aware of the sensitivity around fires and some of the wildfires they've had there. So at the moment, we probably won't have any campfires in Greece. The good news is that the temperature should be pleasant in the evening, so you won't need it so much for warmth, and we'll provide hot water by different means. Cold water is provided from large containers, not from one-use bottles. So you won't be able to use those bottles yourself. You will not be able to use the containers of the bottles that we're providing the water from for anything else. We will provide toilets at the campsites. There'll be portaloo toilets, and when you're at a campsite, you must use those toilets. There, as part of how the race works, there is no showers and no washing. As we've spoken already, there is 3 of the campsites that will be close to the sea, so you will be able to go into the sea in those places. And then the cyber tent, I'll talk a little bit later on. And we do have rubbish bins throughout the course at the checkpoints and at the camps where you can throw away anything, any trash. You can throw anything you don't want, not mandatory gear, but you can't get anything back after the race. So give you a little bit more detail of the tents so you can see what those shared tents look like. They're officially 8-person tents. We normally put 6 people inside them, or you can bring your own single tent that we will carry for you. I'm wary of time, and this is sort of a bit more detail, but we have a cyber tent at each of the camps where you can send and receive emails. But the key thing is here, everything at the cyber tent is offline. The weather, which is a bit more important, so Carlos has touched on it a little bit. Generally in September in the Peloponnese, we would expect highs of around 35 Celsius or 95 Fahrenheit. It likely will be less than that, but it could also be more. And then at night, it is quite a pleasant temperature, so 5+ Celsius in the evenings. I hate always talking about the weather because you just never know what you're going to get these days with the way the world is. But based on historical data, this is what you can expect. You can see the chart down here for the Peloponnese shows it being cooler. When we're up on towards the end of stage 1 and start of stage 2, it will be cooler because we're a little higher up. When we are further down, it can always be warmer. So these temperatures are based on key points, sort of cities or towns temperatures, whereas where we go, we tend to be where they don't have such recording, and you should expect a little higher and a little lower. It's not super humid there, but it could be up to 50 to 60, even 70% humidity, but unlikely that high, which is considered average to high. The deserts are generally 25% humidity, and the average in, say, the UK, the US, I believe, is about 45 to 50% humidity in the summer. So to give you an idea, there is a chance of rain. It's unlikely, but you do need to be prepared for that. Okay, I know a lot of people had questions about equipment, but I'm very conscious that we're going over time already. To summarize it, there is a mandatory equipment list that's on the website, 35 mandatory items. You must bring all of those. And there is a separate Zoom call recording that goes through all that equipment that I'll send out when I send this recording. There is optional items that you can bring optional items. We recommend you keep those to a minimum. However, some things to consider, especially having spoken about the terrain at camps, I would recommend bringing a sleeping pad, trekking poles if you like to use them, and something to eat out of unless you want to eat out of the packages of your food. A toothbrush and toothpaste is also optional, and I do recommend that. Things to look at now as we're sort of 5 months out is the shoes, backpack, and then how you're going to drink your water, the types of electrolyte, and your food. In terms of food and electrolytes, so you have to bring 14,000 calories plus a meal for camp 1. It can be in any format. I say any sensible format. Like if you bought 14,000 calories worth of gels, we would question that. Even though you have the calories, that's going to be difficult to survive on, or for your stomach to be able to deal with over that period of time. You can see what I put here. You should think about breakfast on the course, something for recovery, and then a dinner where we generally say try and have either a freeze-dried meal or some kind of substantial meal. There was a question a bit more about electrolytes, and again, we'll see if we have time afterwards and I can answer it in more detail, but I don't want to keep everybody here talking about that. But you must bring electrolytes. In terms of how much, most of them have some kind of instructions on the packets, and I give you an idea here of how many you should think about bringing if you're bringing tablets or you're bringing the types that dissolve in water. The key tip for equipment is that to test and try everything before the race starts. This picture is obviously not from Greece, but it shows what a backpack can look like and how somebody has put a pad on the bottom and how the water bottles work. They had gaiters. I wouldn't specifically recommend gaiters, certainly not this type for Greece, but then there will be places where there is like gravel and dust and debris where gaiters are never a bad thing. The one thing I will say here is, despite the temperatures, your sleeping bag still needs to be rated at a comfort level of 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. There was a question about how to prepare your stomach for the change of food, and I'll see if we have time for that towards the end of the call. Key on water, so you have to have the capacity to carry 2.5 liters of water. You have to leave every checkpoint with 1.5, and so I recommend you have 1.5 liter capacity in an easy way to carry it. So you can see here, she has 2 750 ml bottles, this one here and one on the other side. And then the extra capacity for carrying water is for sections where if it's extra hot or a little bit longer or a big climb, we may either allow you or require you to take more than 1.5 liters. Optional extras mentioned, there's a single room supplement you can pay if you want. There are photo and video packages, and if you want friends to come to the awards banquet, they can attend and buy a ticket. So at this point, I believe we have on the call here Dean Karnazes, which we're very excited about. Dean was one of the first to complete the 4 Deserts Grand Slam, and he is going to race again in Greece. He is now based half of his time in Greece, based on his Greek heritage. He's going to race, but he also is offering an option of a tour pre-race, and I'm going to let him say a little bit more about this now.
Yes, and thank you. Whether it's pre-race or post-race, I'm still the options are available. I will say that today I ran a race on the Peloponnese where you're going to be, and it was fantastic. It was a little bit humid today, so we'll track the weather as we get closer to the event. But if you're interested in learning more about the history of Athens, democracy, and marathon, where the marathon began, I'm offering a short tour with Racing the Planet, where we actually tour the Acropolis. We go to where the ancient runner Phidippides started his run to Sparta, and we'll also go to marathon. So there's options to tour the place where the marathon began, which your hotel is very close to that location. And we'll talk about a bit about the history. I've studied classics, so I'm Greek American. I have a program that many athletes have followed here in Greece, and they've really enjoyed it. So I can tell you, if you're interested, to email me, whether you want to do it before or after, and you're going to have a great time. Greece is fantastic. The Peloponnese, the course, everything is amazing. It really is amazing. And I will see you there because I'm racing with you. But again, if you want to learn a little bit more about the history of the marathon and about Athens, we're going to do these 1 or 2 day either pre or post event trips, and you're welcome to join me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Dean. So we have put this information on our website, but as Dean said, you can also email him. We did set up this set tour in case people wanted. We thought that's when most people would be available, but as Dean said, you can do it an individual one with him or at a different time or to somewhere different if you're available before or after. It's just one of many options to see more in Greece. Thank you so much, Dean, and very excited to have you racing in Greece.
I look forward to seeing everyone at the pre-race check-in. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And also, the food is amazing in Greece. So once you finish, the food is incredible. So yeah, join the tour, and I'll take you on a food tour as well.
There's a reason to go for sure. So here are some frequently asked questions that we often get. A lot of them I've answered, so just to go into some of them that I haven't answered yet. Can I walk the course? Yes, the course is designed and the cutoff times are designed so you can walk the entire course and still finish. I said it's based on a 4 kilometer or 2.5 mile per hour walking speed. Where there is greater elevation, those times will be extended a little bit, but that's sort of what you should be based on being able to achieve. That said, at the front of the race, we expect the people leading to finish each stage in less than each of the first 4 stages in less than 4 hours. How much should my pack weigh? Try to keep your pack without water, with all of the mandatory gear and food in it, to 10 kilos. Apologies there, I think that's around 20 pounds. Try not to go above 12 kilos. And if you can get it to 8, that's amazing. But anything below 8 kilos means that you will likely be hungry, possibly cold. So 10 kilos is sort of the goal weight, and getting it between 8 and 10 is ideal. And don't go above 12. Can you use water for washing? You can't use the water we're providing for washing. That is for consumption only, the water from the bottles. You are in the sea, you can wash, but we do ask you don't use soap or anything like that when you're in the sea, but you can rinse your clothes and yourself. There is more mobile phone reception on this course than on most of our courses. We still ask you not to use your phone. Part of the reason is to get you away from modern day life. But for those who wanted to know, there is a little bit more reception than normal. Trash we've covered. So toilets at camp I've covered, but when you're on the course, there aren't toilets available. So you just go al fresco, as it was, away from the course, away from any building or dwelling or the checkpoint, and we'll give you bags to put your toilet paper in. So don't leave anything on anything that didn't come out of you on the course. And if it's anything more, like if you're doing a number 2, then please just cover it up or do it in a surreptitious place where it's not littering the area. What is the withdrawal rate? So the average withdrawal rate of our races is 12 to 20%. On this race, we don't have any actual historical data to tell you exactly what it was, but between 12 and 20% of people. So if there were 100 people at the race, between 12 and 20 of them in general don't finish. And there's lots of different reasons for that. Blisters is one, the heat is often one, getting behind on food or electrolytes is another. And another thing is being mentally positive and ready and excited to do the race, so that you have that excitement to keep going. We find sometimes when people don't have that, if the going's getting tough, then they just decide they don't want to carry on. So come in feeling excited, do all the preparation you can to look after your feet, look after your food and electrolyte management, hydration management, and also to try to prepare or train or acclimatize for the heat and some of the climbing. In September, in this area, sunrise, so very roughly, is around 7 o'clock, which means that you won't have that much light. You'll have an hour's light before the race starts in the morning, and in the evening, sunsets around 7 o'clock, so probably dark around 7:30 or a little bit afterwards, which means that almost everybody will finish each of the stages in the light, but those towards the back of the pack may be only just before it starts to get dark. I'm not going to cover that last question here. Quick checklist of those people who are either racing or thinking about racing. So number 1, make sure you have your time off from work and family secured and start booking your flights to Athens. Have a training plan in place or put one in place, and stick to it as best you can, and tailor it as much as you can to what you found out about the course. Check the equipment. Even though we're quite far in advance, now's a good time to at least look at the list and know what you have to have, and think about what you still need to get. In time, not until August, but we'll need the 5 mandatory forms from you, which includes some medical history information. We need a medical certificate signed by a doctor, and you do also have to have insurance that covers for emergency evacuation and medical in case of any issues whilst you're traveling to Greece and during the race. Finally, read and watch as much of the information as you can, so you're as well prepared as possible, and then get yourself to Nea Makri by Friday, the 26th of September. Some of the resources that I'll send to you with the email that I send the recording of this call on. And now, I said, I'm aware that we're over time, but now's your opportunity to ask Carlos, myself, or our local team, Thanasis and Zach, or Dean, any of your questions. So if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself now and go ahead and ask us.
Carlos, there was one question on the chat that I couldn't answer, and that has to do with sort of general bugs along the course. Do you expect any of the areas to have a lot of bugs, mosquitoes, anything else?
No, not that I experienced, and nothing like particularly annoying or dangerous or anything like that. So no, not at all. I read in the questions as well something about the wild dogs. I found like during the whole research that I've done in the area, I just found a couple of places that actually farms that they have the dogs like free, like without a leash. But obviously we will ask them to hold them. But I don't think that is an issue as well. So regarding animals, no bugs and nothing dangerous that I have in mind or that I have experienced during the recce.
I can just talk briefly about the dogs as well. So Carlos was there and did see some dogs and was out on the course, out of the car, and they didn't pose any threat, but they did get excited when a vehicle was driving by. But as he said, we in those couple of areas, we will do everything we can to not have the dogs there anyway. Does anybody else have any questions? Mary, was there anything else in the chat that's worth bringing up to everybody here?
Well, of course, we had the question about water crossings, and so Carlos, if that we have a lot of rain on the course between now and then, is there still any chance of water crossings, or is that pretty much
just the only river that we are going to be crossing is the one in stage 5, the actual river that we cross, and I don't know. I mean, if we got heavy rain or something, I don't know if it's going to be a problem, but I can let you know like more closer to the date, but not now. Initially, the river is super like very low, and it doesn't even cover the whole shoe, so it's very easy.
Okay, and there were several questions about having dinner in the town at Camp 1 and eating at the different stores along the course. And I said that we have not made up our mind on that. Typically on our courses, we do not allow that, but we may bend on this course. We aren't sure.
Assume it's completely self-supported and you can't. If we change our mind on that, we will let you know, and also how to manage that, or what we will allow, so how you can manage that.
And then the other question just had to do with the cutoff times every day. Just to be clear that if a section is more difficult, then we will have a longer cutoff time.
Absolutely. Okay, well, excellent. So thank you all very much for your time on this call. I hope it's got you excited, made some things clearer. And as you know, if you have questions, feel free to message me directly, and I can put you in touch with Carlos if need be, or I will answer your questions. We're always available to answer those. Other than that, I'll be sending out this recording and more updates to come. And I very much look forward to meeting you in Marathon, the birthplace of the marathon, ready for racing 250 kilometers across the beautiful areas of the Peloponnese. See you in Greece, and we'll be in touch before then.
Bravo.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.